Picture this, an army, not of rifles and tanks, but of artists, sound engineers and set designers, rolling across the battlefields of Europe in 1944 and 1945. Their mission? Not to charge the lines, but to deceive the enemy. This is the story of a unit the Germans never knew existed, the Ghost Army. Meet the men of the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, who used rubber tanks, phony radio chatter and booming loudspeakers to bend reality and save lives. Stay with me, because what they did is stranger than fiction, and far more daring. In January 1944, the U.S. Army activated the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops at Camp Forest, Tennessee. About 1,100 men in total, but unlike typical soldiers, many came from art schools, advertising agencies and design firms. Their job, to stage illusions for enemy reconnaissance, both in the air and on the ground. They trained 3 core capabilities: visual deception, inflatable tanks, trucks, jeeps, and fake artillery. Radio deception, operators faked communications and mimicked real units' radio patterns. Sonic deception, massive speakers carried recordings of tank engines, infantry movement, and artillery fire across miles of the battlefield. Their motto could have been, "We must convince the enemy who is watching us, in the air, on the ground, on the wire." And the stakes were enormous. If the illusion failed, real soldiers could die. After arriving in England in May 1944, the unit crossed into France shortly after the D-Day landings. They began their roadshow of deception across Normandy, France, Belgium, and Germany. One early mission, Operation Bettembourg in Luxembourg, involved simulating a large armored force to cover a weak section of the front. They staged fake headquarters, dummy tanks, and fake radio traffic. The Germans believed it. A veteran later recalled, "We pulled into that area, and they came running and said, 'Boy, are we happy to see you guys.'" At night, they inflated rubber tanks, played recordings of engines and troop movements, and at dawn, the props vanished or were repositioned, leaving the enemy confused. As Lieutenant Fred Fox of the 23rd said, "We must remember that we are playing to a very critical and attentive radio, ground, and aerial audience." What made the illusions so effective? Let's look at their technology. Inflatable vehicles, tanks, trucks, and artillery pieces made of rubberized canvas over frames. From a distance, and especially from the air, they looked real. Sound trucks, massive speaker systems mounted on half-tracks, played pre-recorded tracks of tanks, artillery, and infantry. One system projected sound up to 15 miles away. Radio mimicry. Operators spent hours mastering the Morse code patterns of real radio operators, impersonating corps HQs, divisions, and even entire fake units. Soldiers of the Ghost Army could make the enemy believe that 30,000 troops were present, when in fact only about 1,100 men were there. It was deception on a grand scale. Despite being a deception unit, the Ghost Army often worked dangerously close to the front lines. During March 1945, near the Rhine, shells landed within 50 yards of their props. One soldier wrote, "Saw shells landing about 400 yards in front of us. A couple of mortar shells came our way, landed about 50 yards behind us. They were under fire for fake tanks, proof that the enemy believed the illusion. They also used flash canisters to simulate artillery firing positions in ruined buildings. Though lightly armed themselves, 3 of them lost their lives and dozens were wounded. Yet their actions saved an estimated 15,000 to 30,000 servicemen." One of their most audacious missions, Operation Viersen in March 1945, involved simulating a massive crossing of the Rhine far north of the actual point. They created dummy armored divisions, fake headquarters, and generated radio traffic and sound illusions. German forces shifted defenses, leaving the real crossing by the 9th Army less contested. A U.S. Army after-action report described their impact. "Rarely, if ever, has there been a group of such a few men which had so great an influence on the outcome of a major military campaign. They didn't fire the big guns, but they changed the map. The enemy saw 30,000 troops when only 1,100 were present." The operation remained classified for decades. The unit's official history, written in 1945, was hidden in archives until 1996. Only recently has the story become widely known and truly appreciated. In February 2022, the Ghost Army was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, honoring their brilliance and bravery. Many of these men returned to civilian life, resuming careers as artists, designers, and engineers, quietly carrying one of the most incredible wartime experiences imaginable. This story matters because it reminds us that warfare isn't only fought with bullets and bombs. It's fought with ideas, perception, and information. An army of illusion changed the battlefield. Artists, sound engineers, and radio operators risked their lives to craft a reality that never existed, and in doing so, saved thousands of others. Imagine you're an enemy observer in 1945, looking through your binoculars at rows of tanks, hearing engines roar, intercepting radio chatter. And none of it is real. The Ghost Army, the unsung masters of deception, the real tricksters of war.